Oof, yeah, I often start my little videos here with some sort of funny clip that sets up my point. But today I thought I'd start off by making us both cry because that is a very powerful clip of Jane Goodall releasing a chimp back into the wild only to have the chimp turn around and give her a hug, showing that in our world there is more that unites us than divides us, and that love, empathy, and compassion are universal attributes of anything with a heartbeat. Unless, of course, you're Donald Trump. So let's talk about that with Jane Goodall's words. So hit subscribe to Really American Media as the world mourns the loss of one of the greatest progressive conservationists that we've ever known.
The institute bearing her name confirmed the news this morning on Instagram.
Goodall is best known for her groundbreaking work with chimpanzee research. Her legacy will continue to live on.
1960, that I first stepped onto the shore of what is now Gombe National Park to start what has now become the longest uninterrupted study of wild chimpanzees.
Yeah, it's always sad to lose a great human, but I think the best that any of us can really hope for is to leave our mark on this world. And Jane Goodall, well, she definitely did that. And even after her passing this week at age 91, her work lives on, and so do her words. And because politics are what we do here at Really American Media, I'd like to focus on that for a moment. And don't worry, I've got some good Trump monkey comedy coming up. But first, let's talk about what Donnie might have in common with chimpanzees through the eyes of Jane Goodall. She was on with Ari Melber back in 2022, and the topic came up.
As you may recall, you really made waves in the 2016 campaign when you made the connection or observation between one of the candidates, then Republican nominee Donald Trump, to chimpanzee aggressive tactics. We have a little bit of tape. Let's take a look.
We just turn it back to the insurance companies, get costs down, and keep quality up.
It's Rubio! It's the greatest hoax ever in the history of our country.
Here's she, huh? And here's Sleepy Joe, what?
I tested positively toward negative. No, I tested perfectly. I'm a perfect physical specimen, and I'm extremely young.
What do you see there?
Well, I can tell you that I see the behaviors of a chump, but Jane Goodall saw the behaviors of a chimp.
I see the same sort of behavior as a male chimpanzee will show when he's competing for dominance with another. They're upright, they swagger, they project themselves as really more large and aggressive than they may actually be in order to intimidate their rivals.
All right, listen, on one level, it's kind of funny to see how easy it is to compare Trump to an ape. But Jane Goodall had some really good insights there about leading by intimidation, because that is exactly what Trump does. As I've said many times before, Trump is overcompensating because he is a weak, shallow, narcissistic man who can only lead by intimidating, not by inspiring. He is not the president of the United States. He's the president of the mega states. So it's a brilliant observation and a sad commentary on the state of politics in America.
And that is something that humans can display in a gradual or healthy way or in an extreme way? Where do you think we come down on that when you look at that here we are with all the technology and knowledge we have, America is a country with a huge footprint, nuclear arsenal, and this is, at least at one point in time, the person who, through the political process, excels.
Well, I'm not an American and I'm not a politician, but looking at it from outside, I see that the divisiveness that's being created in your America is a tragedy, and it's a tragedy that can have a ripple effect around the world.
Yeah, and remember, she said all of that in 2022, and it's now all 100 times worse. I only wish that Jane Goodall could have lived long enough to see us defeat it, hopefully, in the midterms next year, and then put the final nail in the Trump coffin in 2028. Assuming Trump's not in an actual coffin by then, of natural causes, obviously. I don't need the Secret Service knocking at the door. And by the way, this is where I'm going to segue to comedy. Jane Goodall isn't the first person to compare Trump to an ape, or in this case, to be specific, an orangutan.
New rule, Donald Trump must immediately submit to DNA test to determine whether he is in fact the love child of a human woman and an orangutan from the Brooklyn Zoo.
Yeah, that's on-again, off-again liberal Bill Maher making a humorous and not at all legally binding joke about Trump being the love child of his mom and an orangutan. Something he also joked about on the Jay Leno show, which caused yet another snowflake, whiny little bitch meltdown from Donald Trump, who, like any good dictator, cannot stand being the butt of a joke.
Donald Trump is suing Bill Maher for $5 million. During an appearance on the Jay Leno show, the comedian implied that Trump must be, quote, the spawn of his mother having sex with an orangutan, and offered the mogul $5 million if he could prove otherwise.
The color of his hair.
Yeah.
And the color of an orange orangutan is the only two things in nature of the same color. So
Maher was mocking Trump's offer to donate $5 million to the charity of Barack Obama's choosing if the president would release his college paperwork. Trump promptly produced his birth certificate and affirmed that he is indeed the spawn of two humans. When Maher didn't pay up, the billionaire announced the lawsuit on Fox and Friends. Maher's reaction to the announcement is best summed up by his tweet after hearing of the lawsuit.
And unlike Bill Maher, Trump wasn't joking, and as you heard in that clip, he actually went on Fox and Friends and announced a lawsuit, all without ever mentioning anything about his mom banging an orangutan.
And I have some interesting news today because, you know, Bill Maher promised me $5 million. This is unrelated.
Right.
$5 million. You have breaking news. Big story.
What is it?
But he promised me $5 million for charity if I provided certain information. Well, I provided the information. He didn't pay. So today, I sue Bill Maher for $5 million for charity.
Yeah, and of course, Trump always chickens out. And he proved that even back then, he's a full-on taco, and he dropped that lawsuit. Here's a picture of him explaining that to his son and then Vice President Joe Biden. Yep, true story and definitely not a fake picture. And Trump just cannot seem to shake these monkey comparisons, even to this day. We also obtained video of him recently negotiating an end to the war in Ukraine with Russian President Vladimir Putin. And since Trump completely failed in his negotiations with Putin, Trump thought he would have better luck with another member of his monkey family in this newly acquired video that you'll only see here on Really American Media. Oh, better luck next time, Donnie. And just to bring this all back around to where we started at, I want to give you some more words of wisdom from A Life Well Lived by Jane Goodall.
Of course, animals have personalities, minds, and emotions. And now science has been forced to accept we're not, after all, the only beings with those attributes.
No, we're not the only creatures with emotions, but it's often embarrassing how humans use ours. And right now, we've got a president operating on pure emotion and not logic, as our government is shut down, which hurts all of us. Something those chimpanzees would never do, because as Jane discovered, they look out for each other. Their leaders protect the troop, they don't destroy it from within. So here is to Jane Goodall, A Life Well Lived, and we thank you for it. And with that, please like this video, comment below with your thoughts and lessons learned. In other words, get vocal. From the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve podcast, I'm Steve Harness for Really American Media.